Okay. Good morning. Priyanka, this is Sudharani. I'll take company law subject. Priyanka. Yeah. Today, I'm going to start with the company law subject. I'm sharing screen here. Let us see our syllabus first. Priyanka, is the screen visible to you? Hello, Priyanka. You can chat in the chat box, ma'am. Priyanka, first of all, am I audible, right? Yeah. Yes, no? Right. Yeah. Company law, fifth semester, paper 12. Okay. In this, you have 5 units. Nature of introduction of incorporation of companies. First unit, which covers the nature of companies and different types of companies. Then how the companies go for incorporation and what are the documents they are supposed to fill under the incorporation and what information they are supposed to provide under, through these documents. Finally, the prospectus, what it is and what it contains. The second block is relating to management of companies. Management of companies is that where you are supposed to directors, position of directors, corporate governance, like who are the directors, what is who can be the director of a company, what are their position in the organization, and what corporate governance need to be followed. We will learn under this. The next third block is the company secretary. Company secretary is that where you are going to get a information about company secretaries. Who are the company secretaries of company and who can be the company secretary of company, and then what okay, company secretary of company, then what are the what is the status of this company secretary of company, we will learn. It's a small topic. The next, coming to the company meetings, which is fourth block. Under this company meetings, you will learn about what you call different types of company meetings. Then what are the different meetings a company conduct and what rules and regulations to be followed in order to conduct, and who when these meetings will be conducted, what are the different types of meetings. After that, resolutions. What a resolution is also you will learn. Okay. And after that, after reading this resolution, like meetings, we will come to understand about the resolutions. The fifth block relating to the winding up of a company. When a company get a wind up, and what are the, if a company situations that the company goes for winding up, and what are the consequences it faces, and what the rules and regulations, provisions to be followed by company at the time of winding up. These are the topics that we will cover under the company law. So now let us see about this incorporation of company, our first block, in which we are going to learn about today and tomorrow. We're going to complete this first block, right? So I'm going to share a screen. to explain you the nature of company and kinds of companies. In business organization, in your first semester, you learned about what you call nature of company, right? In business organization, you came across of different types of companies and not companies, different types of business forms, right? There are 5 types of business forms: sole trader form, partnership form, joint Hindu family system, joint stock companies, cooperative societies. So, and that one of the form is companies. Every company, why to learn this subject? What is the very purpose of adding this subject in your syllabus? If you see into that, generally, for every company, when it is getting starting, for every company it is necessary to have a knowledge of a companies act. Whatever we are going to discuss under this subject, companies law, is as per the companies act rules and regulations and provisions of 2013. Okay, so every company must abide to follow these rules and regulations and provisions which are laid in the Companies Act and which are must. Okay, so let us see what are those. That all basic knowledge relating to the Companies Act in further companies we will learn under this subject. So our first topic is nature and kinds of companies. In your business organization first semester, when you learned, you understood about what is joint stock company. It's generally okay. So in this chapter, we learn about joint stock company, its characteristics, and difference between the partnership and company, and different types of companies. Okay. Yes. Joint stock company. It's an artificial person created by the law where people join voluntarily, and it has its continuous succession, perpetual succession, and common seal. An artificial person which is created by law having perpetual succession and common seal, we call as a joint stock company, right? So what does it mean? What is artificial person? What is perpetual succession? What is common seal? This all we'll learn in the forthcoming topic. So first, company and what is law? Company, we know actually the term company came into existence from a Latin word, 2 Latin words, common means. Com means together, panis means bread. So earning association of persons who join together to earn their meal, that is to earn their food, we call as a company. So from there, from the Latin word this came, and we in the what do you call, in a business language, we defined it as a artificial person, the perpetual. Why? Because there are 2 types of natural persons, artificial. A natural person means we all human beings who are all natural persons. Artificial person means companies which got recognition by their name in the among the public, like Reliance. We used to call Reliance company, Infosys company, Tata company. So these all got their recognition, their names more than their founders. Okay, so those are artificial persons. Now coming to how do they form? How these artificial persons form? With the registration, compulsory registration. Okay, and they form with the registration, recognition. Okay, these generally companies which are formed between the before 2019 all got registered as per the Companies Act 2013, 2059, sorry, as per 1956. And after amendment of Companies Act, there came into existence new Companies Act, which is called 2013, some amendments. So companies, new companies, whatever registered after 2013 got recognized as per the new act. Okay. So as mentioned, it's an artificial person. How it became an artificial person? By registration. By registration, we call it got its identity, and we call recognize with its name. Okay. So, and this registration takes place as per the Companies Act 2013, provisions of Companies Act, right? So what does it mean? Now, if you see, an incorporate, there are previous law and new law, I said, na? So as per the previous law, whatever the definition I mentioned, an artificial person, it got incorporated with the what do you call it, perpetual succession, and common seal we call as a company, right? Generally you have a they raise their capital through shares. Okay. Now what is law? Because we are learning, first you must know what is law. Law is what? Some rules. Okay, body of rules of action, or the conduct which has to be followed by the people. Okay, and which beyond this there is some authority which controls these activities of the people and bodies, corporates. If you look into the Companies Act 2013, what does company mean? As per the 2013 Company Act, it's a legal entity, same like our previous law, as its separate identity, and members may operate it, can be considered as an artificial person created by law. Same with little difference. So company is a business entity registered under the Companies Act. It is a legal entity with a separate identity from those who are its members or operating it. Therefore, it can be considered as an artificial person created by law. Now let us see understand these terms that we got in the meaning as the characteristics. Separate legal entity. How do company get, what is separate legal entity? Means with being an artificial person, with the registration, these companies get their identity separate from their founders or from the members who operating, okay, or from the owner. A business which gets its legal identity with the registration, separating itself from the owner, we call as a separate legal entity. That means this company or that business can do its business on its own name. Any assets can be acquired for the business on the name of the business. Any transactions can be entered for the business on the name of the business. That is what called separate legal entity. Okay. The next one is, so what is the importance of separate? Yeah, we are discussing now here under the company law. So what is the importance of that separate legal entity? We can understand this Solomon and Solomon companies case. In this case, actually, there is, yeah, video is there. I'll play the video. Please watch this. The importance of name, separate existence explained in this video. Please go through. See what is this? Mr. Solomon, who converted his entire business for boot and leathers into a limited company, naming Solomon and Company Limited. So, on that company, these all has become the members of this company. So this Solomon on a fine day sold his business to some other company for means whatever the debentures and shares are there, those he exchanged for like with the other company by selling. Like say what he said, debentures secured with floating charges and company's assets amounting to $10,000. Means whatever the debentures are issued by the company and upon which assets are given as a security or exchanged at $10,000. Then shares. 20,000 shares, not dollar, pounds, 1 pound each he exchanged, and the balance in 8,782 pounds cash he took. So in this business, he was the managing business and the sons are directors. Now what happened? After a few days, company has gone into loss. That is, assets are only 6,050 pounds and the liabilities mounted to 9,000 pounds. In that 18,000 pounds. In that 10,000 pounds are debentures and 8,000 pounds are unsecured creditors. So here what happened? Remember, whoever members joined in this Solomon and Company started when the company got into liabilities, liquidation. These members of company, unsecured creditors, 8,000 pounds of unsecured creditors or whoever there, they started asking their money back. Even this Solomon want to get back his investment. Then both of them went to court. So the company, the court has been studied about the company and given the case in favor of the Solomon. How? See, the court, whoever the judge is, whoever was there, he studied that he identified that the company has registered as a total separate member from the subscribers as per the memorandum, and after incorporation only the company has got a raised income, but business is precisely the same as before and the same persons are managers and the same hands received the profits. So the company is not in law their agent or trustee. Okay. So as it got incorporated, so no personal things involved. So as the judgment has been issued that in favor of Solomon Company, okay, and the members said they are not at all the members of the company. Means not at all means they are not at all liable. They are not at all supposed to receive any. One second. Yeah. It is to be understood that the company is invisible, intangible, and exists only in the eyes of law and can enter into contracts, own properties in its own name. So what happened in this Solomon case? Actually, this along with the Solomon, his other family members also joined in the company, right? See. So these people, other members also joined in the company. Okay, but they are the when company, they are only the members of the company, and the company has some unsecured creditors, and these are not will be paid if in case of any loss only when the company has a sufficient proceedings after sales of the assets. Otherwise, they will not be paid anymore. So it's a mistake of it's on the name of the company it has happened. So these people cannot fight with the Solomon to pay back his their investments. Understood? So because they entered into the company as a directors by investing some money. Only after payment and clearing all debts, whatever here, Solomon is not a person. On behalf Solomon, like a company, on the name of the company, Solomon did the business, so they are the members. So it's not Solomon is responsible for paying the credit amount of these people. Understood? Yeah. So the next one is limited liability. Limited liability is another what you call characteristic of joint stock companies. That is, liability of these members is limited. Means whatever you invest in the company, your liability is limited to that extent only. If a company goes into losses, so whatever you invested, that much you only you will lose, not beyond that. So actually, there are two types: are there limited liability and unlimited liability. But majority of the companies, that is public limited companies especially, and profit-oriented organizations have a limited liability uh, because they need to raise the capital. Means if the members' liability is limited to the extent of their investment, then only they can attract more investors to invest in the company shares. So that's how this liability is limited to shares or guarantee. So examples, Tata, Reliance, Infosys, Facebook, Google, whatever the companies you invest in that company, if a company goes into losses, you will lose only the amount that you invested, not beyond that. The next one is limited by guarantee. Means company at the time of making you as a partner or a member, company owners of company must give a guarantee of nominal amount. So whatever the guarantee of nominal amount they give at the time of joining as a shareholder, their liability is going to be limited to that extent of a guarantee given in times of company's liquidation. Okay, so in joint stock companies, the company liability of the members is two types: limited by guarantee, limited by shares. Limited by shares means to the extent of share value invested in the company. Limited by guarantee means the guarantee that is given at the time of becoming a member of the company. Okay. The next one is perpetual succession. That means joint stock companies have a continuous existence. The companies have a means the existence of company will not get affected by removal of some persons or by addition of many others. So members may come and go, but the company continues for a long time. Understood? So that is what perpetual succession means. Companies will not get affected with the death, insolvency, or retirement of any of its members. If one member goes, the other member may come, other member goes, the other member may leave. So the continuity of a firm will not get affected with any of these death, insolvency, or retirement of any of its members. May come or go, but the company continues for a long period of time. When then only when the members would like to come, sorry, excuse me. When members want, then only they can wind, or as per the legal requirements, if required, they can close the business. Coming to the next characteristic of company is common sale. Common sale means, see, being an artificial person, acquiring its assets and entering into contracts on the name of the company, it needs to sign the documents for the authentication. See, you have a bank account, and if you are issuing a check, means you want to pay something or donate something, so you issue the check. Unless your signature can, the check can be in cash, no, no. Same way, when a company got its identity separating from its owner and being an official person, and when it is acquiring all the assets, entering into all the contracts on the name of the on its name, that all those transactions has to be get authenticated. That authenticity of the company will be the common seal, means a signature. It's taken as a official signature of the company. So this company, this common seal is taken as official signature of the company. Generally, a person will be given, in a company, a person will be given authority to use this company's common seal while entering into the contracts or acquisition of assets to use this common seal. The authoritative person who are generally directors of company who have been among the directors of company, one person will be given authority to use this common seal on behalf of company. The next one is transferability of shares. Like companies can transfer their shares, the members of joint stock companies can transfer their shares at any time for anyone, anywhere. Okay, so in share market, the shareholder, if you are a shareholder of Infosys, you can sell at any time, and you can buy you can sell the Infosys, and you can buy the Amazon shares, and you can split also. Okay, and you can sell to anyone from by anyone. Okay, so that is because of this freeness, this flexibility in the transferability of shares enables the company to gain more investors to invest their savings in the shares. That is one of the characteristics. The next one is capacity sue. That is, a company, being an official person, having its legal existence, has a capacity to sue its on its own name in case if anything it finds illegal or required. Yeah, that so those are the characteristics of a joint stock company. So whatever the meaning you learned, artificial person, separate entity, perpetual succession, common sale, these are the major characteristics of a joint stock companies you can take. After this, let us see the types of joint stock companies. Companies are basically classified into 5. Again, under each classification, you will find different some other types of companies. So classification basis is on the basis of incorporation, on the basis of number of members, on the basis of liability, on the basis of control, and on the basis of ownership. The companies are classified into 5 types. So if you see on the basis of incorporation, we have 3 types of companies. That is statutory company, chartered companies, registered companies. And on the basis of liability, you have limited and unlimited liability companies. Under the limited companies, you have limited by shares companies and limited by guarantee companies. Companies classified on the basis of number of members. Again, you have private company, public company, one-person company. This, as per the 2013 Act, this one-person company came into existence. That was startups, anyhow. Okay. And next, based on controlling, we have holding company and subsidiary companies. Then based on ownership, government and foreign company. Let us see in detail about each of these companies. The first one is based on the incorporation. Under the incorporation, we have 3 types: statutory company, chartered company, and registered company. Right? So, statutory companies means what? What are the statutory companies? The companies which got their recognition and which are established with the legislative act or by the act of parliament, we call as a statutory companies. Okay, they carry out some special public undertakings like Reserve Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation, State Bank, India Food Corporation. Okay, this all comes under the statutory companies. Okay, so companies which are established by special act of parliament or state of legislature, we call them as the statutory companies. They are governed by act of creating them. Okay, the next one we have chartered companies. Chartered companies means by special act of king or the kingdom, or the companies which are formed by special act of king or kingdom, we call them as a chartered companies. Generally, in the days of kings and kingdoms, when British rule, we used to have like what you call East India Company. Okay, so they used to do their business through the as per the instructions of the king. Okay, so the trading is to be taken carried forward on the instructions or guidelines of the king. So whatever the companies that are formed by these kings or kingdoms, we call them as a chartered companies. The best example which you all heard of it is East India Company. Apart from that, you have many other Morocco Company, Royal African Company, Greenland Company, South Sea Company. Okay. At present, we don't have these chartered companies. The next one under the incorporation are companies that got registered or recognized or established by Companies Act are all called as registered companies. The companies which are established, which are formed or got recognition with the companies as per the Companies Act 2013 or 1956 earlier, all called as registered companies. Whatever the companies that you are seeing in this picture, all those and whatever the names of companies you recall immediately the moment when I asked about the companies, all those are the registered companies. Okay. You need to remember these sections wherever I mentioned, because you are writing not a common paper, you are writing a company law paper. So you need to remember sections wherever is required, right? Again, under the registered companies, you have companies limited by shares, limited by guarantee, and limited companies. The same thing we learn under the companies based on liability. Classification of companies based on liability. Okay, so based on the liability, we classified into two types based on limited liability and unlimited liability. Again, limited liability has two types, limited by shares and limited by guarantee. Limited by shares, I already explained you this, where the liability of the members is limited to the extent of shares held by them. Whatever the value of shares purchased or the amount you invested on shares, that only will be your loss if company goes into liquidation. Okay, most of the companies will have this type of companies, that is limited by shares, so that they can attract more investors. So examples of such companies you can take Tata, Reliance, Infosys, Google, Facebook, whatever not, all these companies. The next one is companies limited by guarantee. That is, the liability of members is limited to the extent of the liability, extent of the guarantee given by the member. Okay, so whatever the guarantee he gives, to that extent, irrespective of the investment, say I may have a 10,000 value of shares only, but if I have given 50,000 guarantee, so my liability goes up to 50,000. So guarantee, whatever the value that I guaranteed at the time being a member, my liability, in case of liquidation of a company, my liability goes to 50,000. Okay. Most of the non-profit organizations like charitable societies will have this kind of liability limited by guarantee. Now the next, classification based on number of members. Yes, again, number of based on the number of members, we have three types of companies. One person company where only one the founder is going to be the owner of the business, and he is going to own the company in the entire business. Okay, that he is the one who invested and raised funds from the public. So this one person company came into existence with the amendment of Companies Act in the 2013. The next one is public company. What is public limited company and private limited company? Yes, private limited company are those companies where the number of members are limited to 2 according to the section 2 of 68 Companies Act 2013. A private limited company is that where the minimum are 2 persons and the maximum not exceed 100. Okay, and their paid up capital, minimum paid up capital must be 1 lakh, and they are restricted not to issue any shares to public, means they raise their capital only from the public. no, sorry, they raise their capital only from the members among themselves. They will not raise capital from the public. So they will not issue any prospectus. Okay. And the liability of the numbers is, okay, here private limited company, no? Yeah. Private limited company, you have as per the Amendment Act, 200 the maximum number of members can be in the private limited company. So if you look into this private limited company, I say how to remember private company. A private company is the one which raise the capital among the members, and the minimum 2 members must be there and maximum 200. It will not issue any prospectus. It raises among the members. So it restricts the right of transfer of shares and will not issue any prospectus. Its capital is a minimum of 1 lakh. Okay. At the end, private limited terms will be added. The next company is public limited company. What is it? A company which is not private company, whose minimum paid up capital is 5 lakhs and who raise their capital from the public in the form of shares. Okay. And where shareholders are free to transfer their shares and where their liability is limited, this company is called as public limited company. And coming to the number of members, we are talking about based on classification based on number of members. So in public limited company, how many members can be there? Minimum 7, the maximum unlimited. Okay. In public limited company, minimum 7 must be there, the maximum unlimited. Then it is a public limited company. Coming to the next one-person company, I just explained, is only one person to the company and he holds, entire shares of company, and he's like all other companies. He also have all, rest all similar, only the thing one person. Okay. So he himself is the owner, he himself is the director of the company. Yes. Next one is companies classification based on control. Based on control. We have 2 types of companies based on control: holding company and subsidiary company. Okay. What is holding company? A company which gets hold on other company by having above 51, more than 51% of shares in that company. Okay. So this holding companies holds more than 50% of the shares, and so they get the voting rights and they can participate in the meetings. Okay. And they also can take the control the subsidiary company. Okay. So you can take the examples of subsidiary companies: Sony Corporation, Johnson and Johnson, JP Morgan. These all are holding companies. Under this, take Sony Corporation. Under Sony, there are different products are there. So Sony Corporation, being a holding company, key company upon these other Sony brands, plays important role. Okay. Like you have Sony, under Sony Corporation, you have Sony Live Media, electronics, gaming, right? So these all are subsidiaries. Okay. So upon these all subsidiaries, the Sony Corporation will have a control. So Sony Corporation is said to be the holding company. The next one is subsidiary company. This company which is under the control of another holding company, which are okay. Means it works under the control and guidelines of the holding company, which is subsidiary company or subsidiary company, we say. Okay, these subsidiary companies work under the control of the holding companies. You have so many companies like that. Disney Channel. If you take Disney, Walt Disney, under that you have so many Disney products, Disney brands, Disney, what do you call, Walt Disney Studios, Disney Parks, Disney Channel, Disney Consumer Products, Disney Interaction, okay, Entertainment. Like the different are there. All these subsidiary companies are said to be subsidiary company only, means which are under the control of the holding company, that is Disneyland. The next one is that I hope you all understanding. Government company on the basis of ownership. So who owns the company? Whose investment is more? Based on that, again we have government company and public company and private companies, that is or foreign companies. So a government company based on ownership, a government company is said to be the company which a company in which a government has more than 51% of shareholding. Then all companies, we call them as a government companies or public limited companies. You know, in India, sorry, to name government company, we have like HAL, ECIL, BHEL, okay, ONGC. All these are the and what is that called DRDL. These all are government companies, because in these all companies, the government has more than 51% of shareholding. So they work under the control and guidelines of a government. Okay. But they are also supposed to follow the Companies Act provisions. The next one is foreign company. A foreign company is the one which is incorporated outside the India, but establishes and do their business within the India. So IKEA. IKEA is a foreign company. How IKEA actually belongs to what you call Italian, okay, and foreign company, foreign countries, and they came into India, installed their outlet, and they are doing the business. So IKEA is a foreign company, so which is incorporated outside India, but has established its place of doing business in India. All those companies we call as a what you call the foreign companies. Generally, for foreign companies, there is a certain rule imposed by Companies Act, that is, a company which establishes its office in India must get registered within the 30 days of its establishment. Okay. And they must also, like other companies, must also provide a memorandum of association, articles of association, list of directors, commencement of business, and okay. So all these details they are supposed to provide and get a recognition from the company. A foreign company is this, a foreign company which is established, recognized outside India, but established within the India. We call them as a foreign companies. They has to follow various operations. Now let us see the difference between the public and private companies. Public company, company which has a more government sharing. Private company is that which has less private, less share. Okay, so let us see private limited company and public limited company. Minimum 2, maximum 200 for private limited company. In case of public limited company, minimum C 7 and maximum unlimited. So remember the public limited company, in case of companies, public limited company has a more number. With public interest, government works, right? So public interest company, you have a unlimited, maximum is unlimited. Then coming to the directors, number of directors. A joint stock company, which is a public company, must at least 3 directors supposed to attend the meeting. Okay, if directors in a company, how many members must be there in the company. Directors, how many directors must be there in a company? If a company is a public limited company, minimum 3 directors must be there. Without those minimum 3 directors, a company cannot run. Okay, in case of a private company, minimum 2 must be there. So in that, whatever the size of the business, if it is a public, minimum 3 directors must be there. If it is a private, minimum 2 directors must be there. The next one is invitation to public, that is issue of prospectus. Invitation public issue of prospectus is that whether companies issue their shares for subscription by investors or not. Yes, private company will not issue its shares to the public. So when they don't issue shares to the public, they will not invite the public to subscribe their shares. Understood? What about the public company? Yes, public company raise its capital from the public itself only in the form of shares. Okay, so they issue prospectus. So you have 2 points together. See, invitation to public and issue of prospectus. So private company don't give any invitation to public to buy their shares, and they also don't get the chocolates. Okay. So invitation to public, uh, private company will give the no invitation because they raise among their public. So they will not issue the prospectus also. Whereas public limited company will invite the public to subscribe their shares. So that invitation they give through prospectus. So they issue prospectus. The next, after incorporation, incorporation means what? Registration. So after registration, a private company can start its business. Okay, but the public company cannot start its business. It has some other procedure called raising of capital and getting a commencement of business certificate. So if you look into that certificate of commencement of business, public limited companies cannot start their business after incorporation. They're supposed to wait. Okay. And the next one is, what is that? Private companies, no need. They need to, immediately after incorporation certificate, they can start their business. They need not to wait. They can continue their business. For them, no commencement of business certificate. Understood? Coming to the name, if you see any company, next end of the company name, if you find private limited, assume that is a private limited company. If there is no private, simply limited is there, that is to be called as the public company. Okay, public limited company. That's the reason why our examples here are saying that, see, where is public company? So here. So public limited company is owned by public, run by public. Okay. So finally, statutory meeting. I think so. No, that also not that. Statutory meeting again. If you are raising the capital, then you need to conduct a statutory meeting and collect all the information, provide all the information related to the customers and office. Okay. So this private limited company is not at all raising capital from the public. It's raising among themselves. So it need not to conduct any statutory meeting as per the legal law. Manager remuneration. This is nonsense question. Remuneration depends on the experience. Okay. And managers will be paid a profit out of the 11%. Done? So manager remuneration, that is about difference between the private and public limited companies. Yeah, you can also need to go through the difference between the partnership and company, because this one is already there for you in the college, degree college, the difference between the partnership and government company. Till now we discussed the private company. See, So legislation, partnership is desirable but not compulsory as per the law. But for companies, it is compulsory registration. Okay. What the act partnership comes under the Partnership Act 1932, whereas joint stock company comes under the Partnership Act, Joint Stock Companies Act 1956 and New Act 2013. Okay, so partnership companies get registered as per the Partnership Act. Joint stock companies get registered as per Joint Stock Companies Act. Next, how do these form? Partnership is formed with the agreement among the partners themselves. Joint stock company is created by recognition. That is, it's not that only agreement among the partners. Along with that, the registration, they should get registered the form. Okay, so partnership is formed with the agreement among the partners, whereas the joint stock company forms with the registration, that is incorporation. Okay, individually. The next, the minimum and maximum numbers. In private limited company, minimum must be 2, maximum must be 200. Okay, coming to the public limited company, minimum must be 7, maximum is unlimited. So that is point. Okay, the next, after the what do you call the number of members, what is their liability? The liability of partnership members is unlimited because it is their business, they enjoy the profits, they has to suffer any loss, not the public. So the liability of private partnership firm members is unlimited. Okay, so, and joint, you should also add joint, unlimited and joint. Why joint? Because if one partner, due to the one partner's act, if firm gets into losses, all other partners also become liable for such loss. It's not that only that particular partner. Okay, and so it is less and joint. Myself, what do you call, in public limited company, it's limited by shares or guaranteed. Okay, it's limited by shares or guaranteed. The management, again, who manages the partnership? The partners themselves. They themselves owner, agent and principals. But in joint stock companies, board of directors manage, because it's a company which is formed with a large number of shareholders. So it is, you cannot leave everyone to manage. It gets missed, right? So the elected members of the shareholders are called as board of directors, and these board of directors manage the business. Transferability of shares. Again, the shares in partnership, they cannot transfer easily. With the consent of other partners only, they can transfer their shares to others. But in in the public company, nothing like that. Free. Anyone, any place, anytime can transfer. Legal formalities in dissolution. Yes, joint stock companies involve so many legal formalities to get dissolute, but the partnership forms not require that many formalities. Understood? A simple, even if they want to go for registration, a simple method is enough. But for the joint stock company, involves a long process, which is incorporation of company. Any questions? Yes, Priyanka, you can unmute yourself.
Ma'am, difference between mercantile law and company law?
Mercantile law and company law. That actually, company law tells you about the provisions of Companies Act that the companies are required to follow while incorporating their business, means while implementing various activities or functions in the carrying the business. Okay, mercantile law tells you how to defend the company in case of any suits a company has to face with the third parties. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Priyanka, satisfied? Company law
Yes, ma'am.
tells you the provisions of Companies Act which are supposed to be and expected to be followed by the companies in implementation of their functions or activities with regard to the public interest. Okay. uh, Mercantile law is defending how the third parties in case of suit and filing suit against the third parties. How, okay. What are the rules that are laws and how to defend and how to file a suit? You will learn under the mercantile law while dealing with the
Okay,
third
ma'am.
parties, how to deal with the third parties and what rules and regulations are there, that will be learned under mercantile law. Yes, anything? So tomorrow's class will learn about incorporation of a company, if time permits. Did you got all understood now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I forgot to take a picture. 1 second. Yes. Right now. We'll meet tomorrow, same time.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Right now.